Horns up and welcome to a brand new episode of Headbanger's Kitchen, the keto cooking show where if you're looking for the written recipe with the macros, you will find them on headbangerskitchen.com. Now, the wonderful people at Cambe Tiger sent me some prawns. So I thought to myself, today we're going to cook up a delicious prawn dish. And what are we cooking? We're going to be making a delicious creamy prawn and mushroom risotto, and I must admit that this recipe is inspired by Marco P.A. White. I saw him make a prawn risotto and I thought to myself, I gotta do a keto version of this. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's go and cook up that prawn risotto. So the first thing we're going to do is get our pan on the stove and we're going to heat up some olive oil, and you want to get the oil nice and hot. Then we're going to take some oyster mushrooms and we're going to fry these. Of course, make sure to give them a good seasoning with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then you just want to fry these mushrooms. Now you need to fry them for a long time. Like, you want to make sure that the mushrooms are caramelized and they have a golden brown crust. In fact, if I had to pick a vegetable that was sort of equivalent to steak, I would say these mushrooms have a lovely meaty flavor to them. So make sure you cook it. You want to get a nice brown crust on the mushrooms, and once that's happened, you're just going to set them aside. Now in the same pan, I'm going to heat up a full tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm also going to add in a full tablespoon of butter. Once that's melted, I'm going to add in my raw cauliflower rice. Yes, not cooked cauliflower rice, raw cauliflower rice. You can grate it, you can use the food processor, whatever you like. I like to grate it so that it gets a nice rice-like shape. Anyway, give it all a good mix. You also want to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper. Remember, it's important to season the dish as you go along. Anyway, just let that cook for a bit. Now we're going to add in some stock. Now I'm using some mushroom stock, but if you have fish stock, that is ideal, so that the whole risotto has a nice sort of seafood flavor to it. Anyway, you want to give that all a good mix and you want to let it continue cooking. Then I'm going to add in some dried oregano and some chili flakes for some flavor and a little bit of heat. Then in go my prawns. Oh yeah! Give it all a good mix. Now here's the thing with risotto. You got to cook it with the stock and you got to sort of eyeball it, because you don't want it to become a soup, and at the same time you don't want it to sort of dry out and burn. So just add as little or as much stock as you require, and you want to cook it till the stock sort of cooks into the cauliflower rice. Now I'm just going to cover it and let it cook for a bit. Just let everything sort of infuse together. I'm also going to season it once again with a little more salt, because I want the prawns to get some of that seasoning. Once that's done, it's time to finish off the dish, and I'm going to finish it with some fresh basil leaves, and I'm going to add a nice big dollop of mascarpone cheese and give it all a good mix. You're basically making a delicious creamy risotto. And of course, if you don't have mascarpone cheese, you can use heavy whipping cream. You can also probably use sour cream, but you need to make sure you don't overcook the sour cream because it'll split. Anyway, once you've given that all a good mix, we're going to add in the mushrooms to finish it off. Another good mix, as we always do here on Headbanger's Kitchen. And your risotto is pretty much ready. Now it's time to serve it up on a plate, and I think this can feed probably 2 or 3 people, depends on how big an appetite you have. Anyway, once that's done, we're going to finish it off with some freshly grated cheese. You can use Parmesan or Pecorino or whatever cheese you have lying around, and then a few fresh basil leaves, and we're good to go. Oh yeah! And our creamy prawn risotto is ready. And it's time to taste now. Alright folks, so it's time to taste this delicious prawn risotto, and I can't wait to dig in, especially since it has oyster mushrooms, which, as some of you may know, are probably my favorite mushrooms. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let me taste. Okay, it's hot. Oh wow. Let me eat a prawn. Oh, yummy. Oh, it's so good. It's creamy, it's delicious, it's got that lovely seafood taste to it, and the mushrooms, they have I'm digging this, and I hope you guys are all gonna make this at home. Let me know what you think of the recipe, and I will see you on the next episode of Headbanger's Kitchen. Cheers and keep cooking.
An incessant war, my life is bleeding. A broken heart, someone closes the sight of me.